Hello everyone, this is Debbie Happy Cohen with Joy-Based Living, and I just created a new tagline and with my friend Julie co-authored something better, I think, than what I had in the beginning. And it's at Joy-Based Living, we're creating a world where joy is empowered and action is inspired. So I wanted to talk to you today about having difficult conversations with people who matter to you. And I want to give a caveat here that this is for people, for friends, for family members who are emotionally healthy, who are not going to be having another agenda except for well-being for both of you. So I have a really close friend who is also an accountability partner, to where we cheer each other on, we encourage each other, and we also will call each other on stuff and help each other through internal challenges that could be getting in the way of our external inspired actions. We both care a lot about contribution and being of service, and not just in a obligatory, I should be of service and volunteer kind of thing, but am I using my gifts and my skills and talents in a way that's really enlivening my life and the people who I care about? And it's kind of like, how juicy can you make your story? You know, what's next? What's going on for you next? What do you want to have happen next? And a lot of times the obstacle that's in the way is not an external one, even though it looks like it. It's an internal one. So to have a relationship like this takes a lot of trust. Now, she's somebody that I met when we were both, I call it in the basement of our emotional healing. And so we know the depths of each other's crap and how strong we both are as well. Well, recently, we've known each other for about 10 years. Recently, we've been growing a lot. And I stepped on her toes and I didn't know it. And she didn't tell me until a few weeks later. I felt her pull back. And one of the things that goes on in my mind is when I know what somebody wants or cares about, that's the story of them in my mind. Like, I see it already done. I see them in the fulfillment of that next thing or whatever. And my intuition then plays into it, to where I'll be like, oh, connect them with this person, or share with them this insight, or, oh, I think I know what's going on with that. Let me help them to have their next breakthrough. We can talk about it, bring it to the table. Well, like I said, that takes a lot of trust. And in my work, I'm always working with people's resistances. And it's up to me to lead the conversation and then bring it to the table about, hey, I think this and that is going on. And sometimes it's up to me to listen to my own intuition and say, yeah, this is what's going on. This, I can see it. I can see it really clearly. It doesn't mean I'm right 100% of the time. It means that I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm really strong. And if somebody keeps not doing what they say they're going to do, I look for what's the purpose of that. So you go, oh yeah, I didn't set my vacation on the schedule. I didn't set what's going on with that? Oh, in my family, working hard is the thing to do, So it's usually not logical when we say we want something and we say that this and this and that is going to bring us more joy and we don't do it. I look for other reasons, other benefits. What benefits that the mind, the deeper part of ourselves, the part of us that's ancient, that wants to protect us and wants everything to be the same, go, oh, that's how it always was in my family, and you don't do that. If you take a vacation, everything's going to go really bad. Danger, 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 danger. So why would you put that on your calendar? So you got to reprogram your brain. Anyway, back to this difficult conversation. So what happened was she was bumping against something over and over and over. And I was like, I think it's because of this. And I really kind of dug my heels in about that. And then she got really clear that it's not that, it's this, and this is what's important to me, and I need to handle this. And then she said, I was afraid to tell you that this is what I knew to be true for me, because I was afraid that you were going to argue with me, because she finally did tell me the truth of what was going on inside of her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally support you in that. And we went to lunch and she was like, I said, what's going on in you? She said, I'm still stunned that you agreed with me. I was expecting an argument out of you and I was afraid to tell you. And I'm like, oh my God. And so, gosh, so she's somebody who helped me start joy-based living. And we've both been doing the practices as a lifestyle. We have 12 practices, which means that we can engage a really tough conversation and get to the other side of it, which we did. So I want to give you some insights that came from that. One of the things that I let her know is if this was a ship, if her dream or goal or trajectory, if it was a ship, she would be the owner and I would be like co-captaining. Like I'm not captaining her ship, but I would be like, whispering, hey, check this out, she's allowing me to co-author, to co-captain, not to take the power, but to enliven her power. And she said, I know you would never want to hurt me, because I kept saying, I'd never want to do that. And when she was surprised that I wasn't arguing with her, I said, oh my gosh, I would never in a million years want to betray you. And if I thought that I was betraying you, I would want to be corrected. And I am a really strong person, and the more I go, the stronger I'm getting. And what I said to her is, we live in a world where most of our friends will not hold us accountable. They will not be making guesses for us on why we haven't done this, and that. We will actually experience abandonment. And most of the people in the world that I know experience that level of abandonment. Nobody's holding us accountable to step it up, man. Step it up. And I said, I know what it's like to be in relationships where people say to you, oh, I just want you to be happy. I love you. I just want you to be happy. When really they have other agendas. And so they want you to be happy, but only if you live under their conditions and their terms. And here's a little fine writing, blah, 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 blah. I said, I never, ever, ever want that for you. I said, I want happiness for you. Because if happiness isn't your end game, then what are we doing here? And I wanted her to see, and I want you to see, that abandonment sucks worse than giving somebody a wall to bump against. I said, when we have a boundary that somebody says, hey, this is what I see, then the other person can sharpen and go, no, I disagree with that. Now, okay, there's edge there. Or they can go, oh, okay, thank you for stopping me. And so the other metaphor, so I have a dog who passed away last year, Hiro Nakamura, big Great Pyrenees dog. And this friend of mine loved Hiro Nakamura, just love Hiro Nakamura. I said, here's what's the context. And she agreed. So this was really cool that we could be on the same page so quickly. Once we talked about it. Hiro Nakamura was a herding dog, meaning, keep the sheep in line, protect them from the wolves, keep the sheep in line. And he and I were like soul mate, soul dog, soul owner. And I could totally relate to him. I said to her, you just turned 70 and you had the most freaking amazing birthday that went on for like months. It was like she got a huge tattoo on her arm, and she we went zip lining and took out an auto cycle for a ride. I mean, her 70th birthday was like, and I have been growing by leaps and bounds. And I said, one part of the context is that, if you ever see a teenager grow in spurts, that they bump into things because they're not used to their new large size bodies. And, so they bump into things. I said, you and I have both been growing. And so we're bumping into each other and, stepping on each other, or I stepped on your toes. But I don't see, because she said, I really thought we knew each other. Like, I didn't, how did you not know this about me? And how could you not see this? And I was like, I'm going through so many changes. You're going through so many changes. So back to Hiro Nakamura, I said, it might not be the last time I ever do that to you, but it will never come from any ulterior motive except for care. And I can't make a promise to be perfect or to always read you correctly or to back down when I should back down. And Hiro Nakamura was a very fluffy, beautiful, loyal, kind dog. But when he would come to say hi, and if he liked you, he would scoot his whole body into you, and you get all this fur all over you. And so I kind of scooted into her, and I was like, I might like Hiro Nakamura you. So she's like, okay, I'll just get the lint roller out. She used to end up with dog fur all over her car because she'd come over here and then go to her car. So so we were laughing about it by the end of the day. And so she knows that I'm doing these videos, and she said, why not do one on the topic of, she called it, having difficult conversations with friends. And I thought, that was so, as soon as she said that, having difficult conversations with friends, I felt in my body a sense of groundedness and strength and power and love and beauty, and wow. And then later on that day, inside of our joy-based living community, she, without going into any details, she, I just did here, she just let the community know, that she and I had a difficult conversation, and here's where we came with it, and it was so beautiful. And she said, it was joyful. I just want to cry, thinking about that. It was joyful to have that difficult conversation, because we met each other on deeper ground. And to me, that is essential. And what I mean by deeper ground, to be clear, I mean truthful ground. We went to deeper truths, and by the end of the day, we were both just so enlivened. And so when I say at joy-based living, we're creating a world where joy is empowered and where action is inspired. Inspired action came from that conversation. She's like, oh, and then to go to the other, all the way, sometimes I forget to go all the way to the other side. She said, here is what I want. And I was like, oh, I am on board with you. Okay. I said, here's what I want you to do if I'm if I'm like Hiro, and I'm hurting you, and because I think that you want to go this way. All you have to do is put some bacon in front of my nose and go, no, come this way instead. I'm like, I'll be like, because it's your dream. It's her dream. She said, here's what I want. I was like, yes. And I said, what can I do to support you in that? And she said, well, you can envision this and this and that happening. That's all I want you to do is just envision that for me. I was like, you got it. Now I'm plugged in to her trajectory, to her priorities, to what is inspiring her. So now the storyline in my head about her has juiciness to it. It's not negative and it's not neutral. It's juicy. And that's what I wish for more and more people. I have so many relationships, not at that level of depth, but that value having the most juicy storylines emerge for ourselves and for each other. I envision that world, and I'm living and standing and committed to creating that world. One conversation and one relationship at a time. I believe in you. I wish you the best. And I encourage you to never, ever, ever settle. You're not going to do this perfectly. But if you don't have anybody else behind you, know that I am behind you, and we at Joy Based Living are behind you. That if your intentions are to bring your best to the world, to contribute something wonderful, if your intentions are positive, good, and awesome, stand strong, baby, and go for it.